She dedicates every moment of her life to others. She says, I am like a river, I simply flow. Some people take a bath in the river, others quench their thirst by drinking its water. There are people who come to swim and enjoy its water, yet there are some people who spit in it. Whatever happens, the river accepts everything and flows unaffected, embracing all that come to its fold.
She is the Supreme Master, the Hugging Saint, the Divine Mother, or simply Amma. Yes, you guessed it right, we are referring to Sri Mata Amritanandamayi Devi. And to tell us much more about her, we have our guest from India, Swami Shubh Amritaji. Swamiji, Om Shivaya. Swamiji, we welcome you in our show.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you. Being a science graduate and very ambitious in life, what is that made you suddenly choose a spiritual life?
Before meeting Amma, I did not have any kind of an inclination towards leading a spiritual life.
Yeah.
But it was my first meeting with her that kind of kindled a transformation in me. Of course, before meeting Amma, the priorities in life were different.
Yeah.
The ambitions were to achieve something else. But when I met Amma, the love that I experienced myself, the love and the deep peace that I experienced myself within, kind of made me think about the deeper realities of life. And this love, I thought, is so pure, is so sublime, is so selfless. There are no strings attached to this love. And Amma loves you, accepting you as you are.
The way you are.
Yeah, the way you are. And she just pours in love without any kind of precondition. This kind of triggered a kind of a questioning in me that how is this possible? Such kind of love in the world. And then I started kind of being so attracted in the first meeting. I started watching Mother giving this love to everybody in an equal way, without any kind of preconditions or any kind of limitation or discrimination. And I thought, this is a person who has offered her life for humanity. And in this lies real happiness, because I am able to feel it. And she is also able to give this happiness to so many. So I thought, if I could be a part of something like this, it would make my life very peaceful and happy. That's what.
So you are a blessed one.
Well, I would really say yes. I am really fortunate to be able to spend so much time with Mother and be a part of her mission.
Amma is today known all over the world as a renowned spiritual and humanitarian leader. You have been with her for the past 20 years. What it is that you find so unique in her?
I think one thing that I find so unique in Amma is, she just does not talk. She walks her talk. In fact, whatever she, advises people or whatever she teaches is seen so much in action through, each and every action of hers. If she is talking about love, she is giving love. If she is talking about compassion, that is seen through all her humanitarian activities.
And how does Amma explain compassion?
Well, for Mother, compassion is seeing yourself in others. I think it is this spirit of oneness that leads to real compassion.
And is it possible for everyone to be compassionate to others?
Of course, everyone, Amma says, has this potential in them. We all have this treasure house inside us. Only thing is, we just need to go inside and tap in. And
who does the tapping?
We ourselves have to do the tapping. We cannot hire anybody for that.
And how do we do that?
We have to do it through our spiritual practices, through our prayers, through service. All these kind of help us to, to get into this source of love and compassion within us.
I have been reading in Amma's book, she talks about realization. What is realization?
realization is knowing who you are.
Yes.
Is knowing your true essence or your true self. At present, our concept of ourselves is sometimes very limited.
Yeah.
We think we are this body, we are this name, we are this limited identity that we have created.
We put ourselves in certain boundaries. Like.
Yeah, we put ourselves in a cage, we put ourselves certain boundaries.
Yes.
As a result of which, we are not able to realize this infinite potential in us.
Yes.
So Amma says realization is nothing that you attain from outside, but it's just realizing your true nature, realizing who you are.
Amma travels around the world holding programs promoting world peace and harmony. You have been accompanying her on many of the tours. What is the change that you see in people who come from various cultures and societies?
It is very fascinating to see, the way Amma interacts with people who come from different countries, different cultures. And, the change that Amma has brought in them is very unique because, of course, the change is somewhat, the same because Amma has been able to make people more loving, more compassionate, more inspired in life, more creative. So she kind of, for people who come from various cultures, of course she relates to them as per their background, as per their upbringing. But slowly she takes them to this source of love and compassion within, or the source of selflessness within.
Yes.
She has inspired so many people. So you can see, Mother travels in the East, she travels in the West, she travels in countries which are very poor economically, she travels in countries that are rich economically, but all of them have their problems. In poor countries it may be roti kapada makan, it may be food, shelter and things like that. Amma first deals with all these problems and slowly takes them more deeper in. In the West, maybe they don't have economic problems as such. Of course, now with the recession it started there also, but at least the basic necessities are looked after. But there maybe they are lacking in other things. They feel very lonely, lack of love, lack of family support, all these things. So Amma tries to fill them up in all these gaps that they have in their life, and slowly kind of leads them from being dependent on other things or other people to independence, to slowly making them focus on themselves and trying to find, helping them to find this source within them.
Swamiji, is there any particular form of God that Amma relates to?
When you ask Amma, which is the form of God that you pray to or relate to,
Yeah.
she will say, you are my God. Everybody is God for me. There is no particular form that Amma relates to. Amma says for her, everything, even a blade of grass, is God. And of course, in the initial years, when you read Amma's life history, you come across, she used to pray to the Divine Mother, she used to pray to Lord Krishna and all this. But of course, from there, she kind of reached a state where everything became God for her.
Yeah.
So when you ask her, who is your God? She will say, you are my God. So that's how she relates to it.
Everyone in the world should sleep without fear, at least for one night. Sleep without fear. Everyone in the world should sleep without fear, at least for one night. Sleep without fear. Everyone in the world should eat to their fill, at least for one day. Eat to their fill. Everyone in the world should eat to their fill, at least for one day. Eat to their fill. There should be one day when there is no violence, no one is injured, no one is harmed. There should be one day when there is no violence, no one is injured, no one is harmed. All people, young and old, should serve the poor and needy, at least for one day, serve selflessly. All people, young and old, should serve the poor and needy, at least for one day, serve selflessly. This is Amma's dream, this is our prayer. Love is the answer, love is the way. This is Amma's dream, this is our prayer. Love is the answer, love is the way.
I met Amma when I was 4 years old, around 20 years back. And so she has always since been kind of in the background of my life. And I grew up in Germany, in Europe. So of course I was leading like the life of a normal youngster there. You have all the material pleasures in Europe. So of course I was enjoying it and I was just leading a normal life. But I always felt something was lacking, even though I had so many material pleasures and so many things around me. So after I finished my high school, I went to India for the first time to spend some time in Amma's ashram there. And that experience was a real eye-opener for me. It was a really transforming experience. Seeing what Amma does, for the welfare of society, seeing how she reaches out to the poor and the suffering, that really touched me a lot. And also, receiving Amma's spiritual guidance, being in her loving presence, receiving her darshan, all these things kind of really, made me feel that there was more to life than just to enjoy material pleasures. So this kind of triggered a transformation in me. I felt like I also wanted to dedicate my life more to service of others and to pursue the spiritual path. In today's world, we get so much education from our academic system. We get the education of the head, basically. Means we know how to perform well in our studies, in our profession, how to earn a living, how to run a successful life in the outer sense. But we're lacking the education of the heart, the education of the inside. Amma's teachings can really help everybody to know how to lead a happy life, how to lead a balanced life, how to lead a life that has a deeper meaning and that leads to a greater happiness and joy. Amma's youth groups, they are called Ayud, which means peace, are there in many parts of the world. There are youth groups in America, in Europe, in India, in Japan, in Africa, and now also here in Mauritius. These youth groups really provide a great opportunity for young people to develop their full potential. These youth groups, Ayud, all over the world, are very active in many parts, in many different fields. There's so many social activities that are going on. They look after handicapped people, after old people, after sick people, after homeless people. We do a lot of environmental care, like planting trees, cleaning up forests. All these things are there. Also, we have a lot of intercultural exchange with young people from all over the world. So I think this is something very positive that Amma has initiated and that is helping to transform the lives of so many young people all over the world.
During tsunami time, Amma's organization did a lot. Tell us a little bit about that.
People were stuck in their homes. Many of their children had even left their parents because everybody wanted to save themselves.
Yes.
So as soon as the waters came in, Amma, when she realized that this is not an ordinary flood, she asked all the people to come into the hall. Luckily we have high-rise buildings there. So she asked them, all of them, to come into the hall. And she herself got into the waters, along with some of us. And she was going around. In between, what Amma did was, we have a lot of educational institutions on the other side of the backwaters. The headquarters is an island. One side is the sea, one side is the backwaters. So on the other side of the backwaters, the educational institutions that we have, Amma immediately converted them into rehabilitation camps. So all these people, thousands of people evacuated, were all taken to these institutions. And by that time, people from all our centers had brought in food, had brought in clothing, had brought in medical supplies. So when they went across, there was hot food ready for them. The tea was ready for them. If anybody had any injuries, the doctors were ready to treat them. The ambulances were ready. So immediately they were taken care of. And these education institutions remained a rehabilitation camp for many days. And after that, Amma started the long-term rehabilitation. Like, of course, for nearly 6 months, we provided meals for all the villages 3 times a day because they had lost everything. And also, many of them being fishermen were afraid to go back into the sea. So Amma started, developing this self-help group so that they could try other trades, so that they could earn a livelihood for the men and for the women. Amma gave a lot of people the boats that were destroyed in the tsunami, houses. There were thousands of houses destroyed. They had no place to go. So then Amma started the project of constructing the houses, and these were like, earthquake-resistant houses, which of course was a huge project. Amma constructed nearly 6,200 houses for people in the Kerala coast, in Andaman and Nicobar, in Tamil Nadu, and also in the country of Sri Lanka. And also she has looked into the education of all the children affected by the tsunami in Kerala and many of the areas. And she has also looked into the employment. Now, of course, they have a house, they have, a way of earning money, and the children are studying. She has provided scholarship for the children.
My first experience with Amma dates to when I was about 4 or 5, and I still remember how that first meeting in Mauritius itself had impacted me quite considerably. I remember my mother first told me that there would be an Indian saint who would be coming to Mauritius. And in my child's mind, I had many preconceptions about saints, of course. So I imagined this divine ethereal figure coming down from the skies with wings and probably a halo around her head. When I reached the spot where Amma was giving darshans, was giving her speech, and was also conducting bhajans, I was quite surprised when I saw the one who was called Amma, because she was unlike anything I had imagined. She looked like an ordinary human being. And I couldn't convince myself that Amma, dressed in such simple attire, could be the saint everybody was talking about. And during her speech, which was being delivered in Malayalam and being translated in French for the Mauritian audience, there was one line which was spoken that had a really strong impact on my mind and which till date is still very much etched in my memory. And it was this line. Qu'est-il que vous emporterez avec vous à l'heure de votre mort? Obviously, when I think about it now, Amma was talking about detachment to the physical world. Amma inspires us to take action, to take responsibility, to be the change that we want to be in the world. And this is where I draw endless inspiration from Amma.
I've met Amma 11 years back, and I still remember the day I first encountered her. And when I saw her, she was so simple and so attractive at the same time. And she was like the queen of bees, and we were all like bees around her, seeking for the nectar, for her love, for her peace, for her attraction, for her glimpse and smile. And what was obvious also is it was her effortless, tiring, like hugging everyone from the first person to the last, and with the same smile, with the same patience. Then afterward, I started coming to the ashram and then learning more about Amma, her teaching, learning from books. And I got subscribed to Matrovani, which is a monthly newsletter of Amma, to be updated about her charitable activities and about her talk, about her world tour, whatever she's saying, whatever she's preaching. And this is my way of keeping up to date of what Amma is doing. A saying that really inspired me is everyone in the world should be able to sleep without fear, at least for one night. Everyone should be able to eat to his fill, at least for one day. There should be at least one day when hospitals see no admitted due to violence. By doing selfless service for at least one day, everyone should help the poor and needy. It's Amma's prayer that at least this small dream is realized. It's a saying from Mata Amritanandamayi. And my dream is everyone in the world should meet Amma at least once and have her embrace.
My personal experience with Amma began when this ashram was under construction. It was one of the devotees of Amma who got me here. And perhaps I was fortunate to be with another spiritual master before. Not that I've deserted the previous one. It's just that I've seen another aspect, another spiritual master now. And my first impressions were, well, she's just an ordinary little woman. Nothing very impressive. I had preconceived ideas like all. At that time in my life, I was going through personal problems, turmoil, like I think all of us do once in your lifetime. And with Amma's hug, which I got on the first embrace, first darshan, that came like a jolt. And something sparked off inside me. And I couldn't explain what. Okay, from there on, I went into a journey on myself. She somehow planted a seed inside me, which made a gradual transformation inside. It took a gradual transformation within me, which changed my outlook towards life.
Swamiji, tomorrow by this time, thousands of people would be queuing up to have Amma's darshan and hug. What do you have to tell my viewers?
Yes, Amma will be here from 7th evening, the full of 8th and 9th. And there will be 5 sessions starting from 7th evening, the 8th morning, 8th evening, then the 9th morning and the 9th evening. I would, tell the viewers that, come and experience Amma's presence for yourself. Come and feel this love, come and experience this love. Feel the peace that, you find in Amma's presence.
Thank you so much, Swamiji. I hope Amma's day is going to be very fruitful, very successful, and we'll have her blessing.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me in the show.
Thank you.
Everyone in the world should see without fear.